Next, we're going to use Python to export data directly from the geometry out into a CSV file, which can be viewed in Excel. Actually, not only are we exporting the geometry, but all the data inside the file, in this case, a shapefile. So first, let's bring in the file we're going to export, intersections.shape. So let's drag and drop that into our current session. And we'll use the very first one, UTM Zone 10. You'll know you picked the right one because it should say at the bottom of the screen, 26910 in the bottom right-hand corner. There it is. If you want to see some of this data, we'll look on the identify and pick on one of the items. You could see that each of these intersections, say whether it's a traffic light, what street number it's on, and intersection and so on. And we could look at each one and all the different data. So for example, this is a dead-end street intersection and so on. Let's close identify results and clear our selection. Next, we're going to go into the Python console, and if not already open, use the show editor. We'll browse for a file and open up the script. The script we're going to look at is export CSV.py. Again, that's under geometry handling Python. So it's actually a simple process. So let's open this up. The first thing we're going to do is get the name of the layer. The layer is called intersections. So we go to the instance of the project, map the layers by name, which is intersections. And we're going to use bracket, zero bracket, because we're going to grab the first layer called intersections. In this case, we just started a project. There's only one, but we have to put which one we want to use. So we're going to take the very first one, the 0. We're going to define where we're going to put our CSV file. So we're just going to put on the desktop. Now, this may change depending on your install. You may be using a Mac or Linux, or you may have installed a different username. In this case, my username is Gordon Luckett, so that's my desktop. So I'm going to put a WKT CSV desktop. Now that I have those two things set up, I have my layer, I've got my CSV location, I'm going to use the vector file writer tool. And we're going to write as vector format. So we have QGIS file writer. We're going to write as a vector. The first one is layers, so that's intersections. That's what we're exporting. The second item is a CSV file. That's the path to the CSV file we're saving, which will be on the desktop. We're going to use UTF-8. That's the encoding for the text. We're just going to use the layers coordinate system. So the layer.csv. The layer is the intersections. We're going to use the layer.crs or coordinate system of intersections. We're going to export it as a CSV type. And we're going to leave all the other options alone, except one extra thing we're going to do. We're going to say export the geometry as XYZ or XYZ so that we get new columns with an X and a Y inside of it, inside the Excel sheet. So otherwise, if we didn't do that, it may show up as a well-known text or something like that. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and run this. It's going to take all the entities here as well as get the X and Y and put it into a CSV. So let's go ahead and run this. When we didn't get any feedback, it's fine. So let's minimize this. And you should see a well-known text.csv. So let's open that up and we'll just edit it with Notepad in this case. And sure enough, there's the X, Y, and Z or Z. There's no elevations on this data. So you only see the X and Y. And you'll see all the other columns like type, street, and so on. And there's all the data exported from QGIS. So that's great. So we've got a simple tool with 3 lines to take a point layer and export it out to a format that anyone with Notepad or Excel can see. So as you can see, using the QGIS file writer and the write as vector format, and take any layer and write that out to a CSV file. And it doesn't even have to be points. It could be polygons and so on. But Python is powerful enough to take data inside your map and put it into a format anyone could read.